My name is Phoenix. I was mixed and grown in a lab on the 13th floor. One of my doctors thinks my name came from the birthplace of my ex-donor. I've looked it up. Phoenix, Arizona is the full name of the place. However, from what I've read about my floor, even the scientists who forced my existence don't know the names of donors. So I doubt this. I think they named me Phoenix because of what I was, an accelerated organism. I was born 2 years ago. I looked, behaved, and felt like a 40-year-old woman. My doctor said the acceleration would stop now that I was matured. To them, I was like a plant they grew for the sake of harvesting information. Who do I mean by them, you must wonder? All of them. The Big I. The Tower 7 scientists, lab assistants, lab technicians, doctors, administrative workers, guards, and police. We of the tower call them Big I because they watched us. All the time they watched us, though not closely enough to prevent the inevitable. I could read a 500-page book in 2 minutes. My brain absorbed the information, stories like a sponge. Up until 2 weeks ago, aside from mealtimes, looking out the window, running on my treadmill, and meeting with doctors, I spent my days with my e-reader. I'd sit in my room for hours, consuming words upon words that became images upon images, ideas upon ideas. Now they gave me paper-made books, removing the books when I'd finished them. I like the e-reader more. It took up less space and I could reread things when I wanted.
(2024). Prodigy is, at its essence, adaptability and persistent, positive obsession. Without persistence, what remains is an enthusiasm of the moment. Without adaptability, what remains may be channeled into destructive fanaticism. Without positive obsession, there is nothing at all.
I emerged into a kind of little square, or rather, a kind of courtyard. It was surrounded by a single building of irregular form and variable height. To this heterogeneous building belonged the different cupolas and columns. Rather than by any other trait of this incredible monument, I was held by the extreme age of its fabrication. I felt that it was older than mankind, than the earth. This manifest antiquity, though in some way terrible to the eyes, seemed to me in keeping with the work of immortal builders.
The little wooden ties, careful not to set your foot in the open spaces. Below there is nothing for hundreds and hundreds of feet. A few clouds glide past. Farther down you can glimpse the chasm's bed. This is the foundation of the city, a net which serves as passage and as support. All the rest, instead of rising up, is hung below, suspended over the abyss. The life of Octavia's inhabitants is less uncertain than in other cities. They know the net will last only so long.
She made a lot of little clicking sounds when she walked on bare floor, each limb clicking in succession as it touched down, waves of little clicks. She came to the table, raised the front half of her body above it, and surged onto it. Sometimes she moved so smoothly she seemed to flow like water itself. She coiled herself into a small hill in the middle of the table and looked at me.
No one is teaching me. I'm just learning on my own, little by little, dream lesson by dream lesson. Not a very subtle image, but a persistent one. I've had many lessons, and I'm better at flying than I used to be. I trust my ability more now, but I'm still afraid. I can't quite control my directions yet. I lean forward toward the doorway. It's a doorway like the one between my room and the hall. It seems to be a long way from me, but I lean toward it, holding my body stiff and tense. I let go of whatever I'm grasping, whatever has kept me from rising or falling so far. And I lean into the air, straining upward, not moving upward, but not quite falling down either.
It was about 2 o'clock, I would guess, when I stepped into the street. Outside, the predictable ranks of 1- and 2-story houses had taken on that abstract air they often have at night, when they are simplified by darkness and silence. Drunk with an almost impersonal pity, I wandered through the streets. On the corner of Chile and Takari, I spotted an open bar and general store. In the rhetorical figure known as oxymoron, the adjective applied to a noun seems to contradict that noun. Thus, Gnostics spoke of a dark light and alchemists of a black sun. Departing from my last visit to Tetelina Villar and drinking a glass of harsh brandy in a corner bar and grocery store was a kind of oxymoron. The very vulgarity and facilness of it were what tempted me.
The shuttle was one of the new sleek models that looked like the bullets my teachers used to calculate ballistic coefficients during my A-levels when I was growing up. These ones glided fast over land using a combination of air current, magnetic fields, and exponential energy. An easy craft to build if you had the equipment and the time. It was also a nice vehicle for hot desert terrain. My people didn't like to leave the homeland. I sat in the back so I could look out the large window. I could see the lights from my father's astrolabe shop and the sandstorm analyzer my brother had built at the top of the route. That's what we called my parents' big house.
A rose appeared on the whole dimension. A full-blown pink rose. Clear and steady. Whole. And the uncon went crystal dark, and the rose darkened and wavered. I said, just relax physically and think about anything you please. There was flurry and sub-verbalization on the con dimension, and the uncon faded into grey. Suppression. The rose came back weakly a few times. He was trying to concentrate on it, but couldn't. I saw several quick visuals. Myself, my uniform, TRTU uniforms, a grey car, a kitchen, a desk, the papers on the desk. He stuck to those. They were the plans for a machine. He began going through them. Finally, I said, "What kind of machine is that?" And he began to answer aloud, but stopped and let me get the answer sub-vocally in the earphone.